there wasn't any real, like, there was nowhere near as many distractions as today.
Yeah.
Like, I feel
Yeah.
like today our attention is constantly being pulled
Yeah.
all over the place. And
Yeah.
it's sort of scary because I mean, even like, us, when, we're talking about coaching, like so much of what we talk about is about focus and
Mhm.
limiting distractions
Yeah.
and identifying the things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis that give you the greatest return on your time and efforts.
Yeah. And it's one of the things that we started when you started working with me, which was such an amazing period of my life and such a catalyst. I just remember when it struck me how busy I was looking at the scoreboard,
Mm,
right? And it's like you were like, get your eyes off the scoreboard, Dan. It's time to get in the day,
yeah.
and to get in the work. And I remember sitting at Joe in the juice with you,
Yep.
and you were telling me, listen, you got to just make the calls, And I was like, physically, like the reaction, I was like, felt like I was going to break out in hives because I just
Yeah.
had forgotten how to do that. It's, man, you got me off my ass, but it
Well,
was,
I think that's one of the coolest things about watching you is this whole sort of growth and transition. That's why I wanted to come on today. Is like, when we first started, it was like I mean, you had so much going on in your life,
yeah,
and you still had this burning desire to be great at what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis, but you were also trying to be great at everything, as certain things were sort of being taken from you and stripped, and you're still showing up every day, which is awesome, but it's also exhausting.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, I really, it was, everything had broken down, right? When my divorce, starting with my divorce, which just shocked me. I just was blindsided by it. And when I look back, it was totally predictable. And, we would have done each other a favor ending it 5 years earlier because we're still great friends today. We
Yeah.
just weren't meant to be together. But when that fell apart, I realized I was living my life on a story. It
Yeah.
was just a storyline. And as long as I could keep that story going, I'm a winner, baby. Like that's all that matters is as long as they see me as a winner, what
Mm.
I'm doing in my day to day, not giving any love to my wife, not loving my son the way I should. That's
Yeah.
not what matters. It's what they see. And that, like,
And
breaking that down was brutal, man.
when you say the word they,
Yeah.
who's in that they? Like who would you put into they?
The least important people in the world, just everybody else out there but my family.
Yeah.
And Susan, I'll give her credit. She would say it to me repeatedly. She'd be like, you care more about our neighbors than you do about me or Griffin. And she
Mm.
wasn't wrong. And I thought at the time, just, kind of, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous. That's not true. It's absolutely true. I cared more about the perception. And it's taken years of therapy, man. I mean, this is not something that happened in a day or a month or a year. This has been 3 years of weekly therapy. Shout out to Dr. Zom. I mean, he saved my life, man. Just like helped me figure out, holy cow, I am really focused on the wrong metrics and the wrong criteria.
If you had to go back sort of in time in your own life, where do you think that, I guess, desire for, public opinion and seeing that it mattered so much, where did that begin for you? In
I think,
Minnesota, obviously, right?
yeah, no, absolutely. Look, I mean, I look at it, it was early days. I mean, I think I was the youngest of four. I was a late bloomer. I was 5 feet tall in my sophomore year. So I loved playing ball sports growing up, but
Mm.
I was too small by my middle school years.
Mm.
And I was a mama's boy. I was very close to my mom. I felt like I had to protect. I wanted to project an image of success, and
Yeah.
that's what drove me to New York. That's what drove me to London. That's what just made me want to seek to be seen as successful. And listen, I had success, so no question. But what I love about you and the title of this podcast, right, becoming a champion, like you're not interviewing me because I'm a champion. I'm far from it, but I'm starting to figure out how to become a champion. Like I'm starting to see the seeds, and
You're on the journey,
not,
right?
yeah, it's not sexy, man. It's like the opposite of
Yeah.
sexy. It is just day to day grind, and bring the lunch pail. And
Yeah.
so, but back to your question, it was, I mean, even growing up, just having grown up in the Midwest, I kind of viewed that when I came to New York as a source of, I don't want to say embarrassment, but, you know, I felt like, oh, you know, I come from where the movie Fargo was made, and they've got those funny accents, you know, oh yeah, you know, we're doing pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
not so bad. So it just had all this shame, kind of shame in a way. And it just drove me to want to bury all that and just kind of show this picture of success. And I did have success for sure. I had, but the other thing that I lost is I had just an amazing family in Minnesota, just incredible, who modeled how to be in a wonderful way. My dad and mom just, you know, worked their tails off, and my brothers and my sister, the same. You know, just good people who worked really hard, super successful, but just by doing it the old-fashioned way, you know. And I wanted it fast. I wanted it to be seen as, you know, I need more. I need more.
Yeah.
So,
I think you know, living in New York City, though, you know, you're not alone in that place. I'm going to say that place that you were in, because a big part of why I wanted you to come on today is because I love that you've transitioned from that. Like, I can feel it in your energy, in your presence, you know. And I'm not going to say it's not from yoga and it's not from meditation and all that, right? I know that's a big part of it, but I do think it's more from the journey that you've been on, and even some of the hell that you've gone through, and you're on the other side of that now.
Yeah. So it's you know, it's funny. When you say yoga and meditation, that they've been a part of it, but I spent so long when I was struggling, trying to find the way, looking for the book, the podcast, the yoga session, the yoga instructor, you know, and that was going to like be the breakthrough. And I would find things, I'd go, that's it. And it would give me days, weeks of kind of respite of, oh, okay, this is great. But ultimately it just kind of all fell apart again. It's like, okay, that's not it. It's not one single thing. It's an integrated web of daily living that's focused on these amazing gifts I have, this great son, amazing son that I have, great family, a great job, a great work ethic for fitness, and wanting to move and wanting to just kind of get out there and get at it, you know. And that's, I've found the balance that I was so badly seeking for so long. And I still screwed up so badly. I mean, I'll be sitting at home, you know, on the couch watching TV with Griffin, and he's on his electronics, and I'm like, yeah, I'm super dad, you know. That's like, you know, I'm far from having it figured out, but I know I know where I find there's a great line that I found: we're not punished for our sins, we're punished by our sins, right? And so you sort of think, wow, that's it. I'm doing this to myself, right? When I'm not getting it right, it's not because someone's punishing me. It's because I know the right path, I know the right way, and I know I'm going to make mistakes, and I know that I'm going to do things that I'm going to shake my head at. You know, that's all right. Just don't get stuck in the mud.
You know, too, it also sounds like, you know, back when you were in that place, you were trying not to make mistakes because you were so badly seeking perfection.
Yeah.
That a mistake was just devastating.
Yes.
And you took it personal, like mistake means loss, and loss means like I'm a loser. I'm not doing well.
Right. Oh, no. Amen. You saw it firsthand. You called me out on it. And it was even, I even tell you, go back to what I said earlier, it was not even necessarily fear of a mistake as much as the mistake being seen.
Yeah.
Literally. So it's like I could make a mistake, and the first thing I would do, it's like falling down, and you kind of look around like, did anyone see that? No one saw that. It's like a tree in the forest falling, right? It's good. It's not, it didn't happen. So yeah, it was so deeply ingrained in me. It was, I mean, we're talking 30 years, right? I mean, that was the path that I was on for 30 years. So coming out of that and finding a new way was not going to happen overnight or in a month or in a year. You know, it's taken 3.5 years, and I'm still figuring it out. You know, I mean, I feel like I've got so much potential ahead of me. I feel like I've, you know, the analogy I like to use is I feel like I got sent down to AA, coach, you know, and it was like, you know, he's lost his swing, and it wasn't a demotion, work demotion. It was more just, I did it to myself, you know, and lost his swing. Let's see if he'll get it back. And 50-50. right? He might just be on his way to A and out and, you know, and coaching somewhere in a little minor league team down the road. Maybe he'll come back, but you know, the odds are kind of stacked against him. The momentum. He's gone AAA, double A, right?
Yeah.
Get it back when he fell down the first time. So that's kind of where I was, and it's taken me a long time. And I like that thinking that way because I feel like I'm in AAA. I've gotten out of AA. You know, I found my way back to the majors, but I'm not there yet. I'm not.
Well, you know, it's cool. I mean, listen, you're playing in the big leagues of finance. You're in New York City in finance, the capital of finance, right? It's a supercharged place. It's all about what's next, the next deal, making money, upgrading yourself, upgrading your life. So you're like right in the middle of it. But here's what people don't know even about big league players is that if you're a big league pitcher or you're a big league hitter, they call it retooling. Sometimes, again, we send them back to AAA so they can work on that one little thing that's sort of just holding them back from being great. And I would say what holds you back from being great is you simply don't know how to use your God-given tools and the gifts that you have because you're too caught up in the other bullshit.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, amen. I mean, that's, I love that idea because it also, we all know, even when you feel like, okay, I've got the path, I got to make 50, 60 calls a week. You know, that's my path. I've got to be the salesman. I've got to get back and just work and find a way to get into the flow, get in the mix. And I'm going to lose my way at times, right? I'm going to get distracted by something. I'm going to get distracted by success at times. I'm going to get distracted by failure at times. And that kind of idea of, okay, what was I doing 6 months ago that it was working so well? And, you know, it's not that hard. You know, it's amazing. I look around me at guys in my field that have been successful and, you know, far more successful than me. I mean, like way more. And I would look at him and be like, that guy's lucky, caught a break. He was right place, right time. You know, I didn't have the same shot as he did. And it's just utter bullshit, man. That guy worked harder than me. So sure, he had his shot, but he took it. And I've had my shot over and over again over the years. And I've had some success, but my potential is so much higher than where I've been operating. And that's really cool, right? Because now I feel like, okay, 48, I just turned 48, by the way. So I'm just, you know, just getting used to this feeling of 48. Thank you. I'm learning not to say 47 anymore. That was a cheap way of asking for a happy birthday, by the way.
Hey, sometimes I say, man, if someone asks me how old I am, I have to take a minute. I forgot how old.
It's crazy, man. It just flies. But I look, I'm like, geez, I've got more energy than I've ever had. I've got more passion for what I'm doing. I've got a better team than I've ever had in my life. I've worked with a lot of great teams, but this team is lights out. I mean, I have all the makings, and there's one thing that'll stop it from happening, and it's me, right? Everyone else is there, and just like, Dan, what do you need? What can we do? How do we do this, right? And
so, Dan, you know what? I want to talk to you about that part of it because I find it really interesting because when you were sort of in the heat of battle, the one thing that you were really good at is sort of like finding the next course, the next person. Like you were always, again, you were always grabbing for the externals.
Yeah.
And then one day, I remember this, I was sitting in my sauna at home and you said, you know what? I got to figure this out on my own. And it was sort of your cutting the cord moment.
Yeah.
And it was like, Dan, listen, man, that's great. I'm happy for you. Go figure it out on your own because you needed some tools. And then I think you had this sort of revelation that was like, none of this is going to help me unless I help me.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, it's, I spent so much money and so much time on different stuff that I thought I wanted a shortcut, you know, and I figured I deserve a shortcut. I had a sense of entitlement. Yeah, honestly, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm 25 years into my career.
I deserve this.
By most people's definitions, I'm relatively successful. I've had, you know, a relatively high amount of success, fairly high at least. So I shouldn't have to work for it, you know, shouldn't have to. So I just have to find the guy that's going to hand me the golden ticket. And then I can get back to just, you know, fret my days away again. And I look at my schedule now, like I look back at last week and I'm like, that's exhausting. Like that's some work, man. That was like the calls, it starts with get up in the morning and get a yoga and some strength in, walk to work, make the calls, 15 calls a day, come home, work out, go for a run. Like, and I finally took your advice, by the way, on recovery. I got the Normatec. So
thank God.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. And I got this fitness tracker,
There you go.
which is amazing, mainly for my sleep. So it just holds me accountable in sleep. So all of that is just to say, I've been I was hoping and praying and spending money on things that I just sort of weren't paying off in terms of what I needed to be successful and what I needed. And it was just go do the work, look at what your dad did. Look what your family did. Look what all those guys that you're harping on about they're lucky. No, look at their day, man. They're calling, they're working, they're hustling, they're traveling. Obviously not these days so much, but they're hightailing it out there. I wasn't doing that. I was sitting in the corner office smoking my cigar because I felt like, this is the way it's supposed to be at this stage of my career. So the great part is now I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like I get to go out and I've got the team that I always wanted. I've got the son that I couldn't have dreamed of, and I know what I need to do. Like I wake up energized, excited. I have good moments and bad moments for sure. I don't want to make it sound like I've got it all figured out by any means, but it's ironic. I was talking to my therapist the other day and telling him, I in the past I've had to make money to support my lifestyle. Like I deserved a certain level of spending, so I had to make a certain amount of money. And I'm learning part of it just over the last year, just been cutting stuff back across the board. And then in this, I've cut way back, and I'm realizing, I literally told my therapist the other day, I'm a little bit worried because I don't really need to spend anywhere near what I wanted to. And I'm going to start making a lot more money as I find my way. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to spend it, right? Yeah. The answer is no, you don't. Just
don't, because then you might end up back in those bad habits.
Exactly. I mean, it's amazing. I don't know if I ever told you this, Coach. In the financial crisis, I had, I just read a blog that said, hey, the financial markets are going to crash in the coming years and, short sell everything. And I was like, oh, that's it. Buy gold and short sell everything. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'll do that. So I did that. I shorted the stock market. I made a killing in 2007 and 2008. Sounds like bragging, but you'll see where it's going. Yeah. Made a killing in 2007, 2008. My son's on the way. He needs a palace. I'm going to buy that duplex in Tribeca. Close in August of 2008. Lose my job in January of 2009. Have to liquidate it. I have the distinct pleasure of being one of a handful of people that lost money on real estate in New York City from 2001 through 2020. And it's just, I feel like when I have it, I do really stupid stuff with it. That's my pattern over and over and over again.
I love what you've done now. It's sort of, you've actually probably started to embrace your inner Midwesterner, where it's like, hey, I'm a simple guy. I live a simple life. Yeah. And I'm going to get to the point where I'm able to build a real surplus where I can get whatever I want, but now I know what I need.
Yeah.
For the first time in my life, I know what Dan needs.
Yeah.
It's not what everybody else has or wants. It's what I need.
Absolutely. I've tried that. I've tried doing let me get what he has that seems to make him happy and look fulfilled. And I've done that all. And that's one of the funny things over the last few years, you and I have talked about this. I've just haven't done any dating. And which is weird because I'm really a relationship person, but I couldn't figure it out. I was talking to my therapist about it. He said, maybe you feel like you're not, worthy is the wrong word, but you're not where you want to be to find the right kind of partner, right? Like if you found someone now, it would be like Susan. And that's not a knock on Susan. Susan's a great person and we're great friends, but she fit the pattern of what I was looking for before. Yeah. So it's almost like I had to take some time, like, 3.5 years to breathe, step back and go, what matters to me? And who's going to fit into this lifestyle with me that the Midwestern, simple, embrace it, be proud of it rather than thinking, oh, it's not enough. Right. Exactly. I mean, so you're absolutely right. And the amazing thing is it's so liberating, because then it's like, the irony is it frees me up to do this other stuff, to do the fitness stuff that makes me feel good, that gives me energy, that makes me want to work hard at work, so I can earn the kind of, hey, I want to earn the right to the time for my fitness. And it's the irony is, like, now that I can see that I'm going to have success, start having the kind of success that I should have been having if I had just kept it simple and focused and done the work.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to need what that success brings, which is more money, right? And that's great. I mean, I don't, I just, you're going to have to remind me when you see me start buying fur coats and Lamborghinis.
They're looking like John Gotti again.
Just walk up to me and slap me. Just go, dude, come on, really?
Oh, and Minnesota, bring out your inner Minnesota.
Do we have to go back to Joe and the Juice again?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go, brother.
No, you know what though? It's actually, interesting what you're saying, because, there's so many people out there that are really successful, and you'd have no idea, because they're not into the flash, and you talk to people around them and you're like, no, that guy's like the king of the industry, but like, you wouldn't know. And we're in such an interesting time, and it plays with you emotionally, because, when you go on social media, Instagram, you look people up online, people have created this narrative that's false. Mm-hmm. But we don't know the difference, and sort of our primal mind says, wow, look at what he has, or look at what she has. And then instantly we say, I'm not good enough, and I want that. Not only do I want it, I should have had it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And that sort of swirl, it throws you into a place of like, hey man, you're abandoning all the fundamentals. You're abandoning the process.
Right.
And there's no instant gratification in this world. So don't believe all that shit.
Yeah. And the flip and the exact, so I love that idea. And listen, my dad and my oldest brother modeled this beautifully. They've both been super successful executives, and my brother, the other brother, by the way, is just a super successful executive. He's chosen to go the nonprofit route, and just amazing guy. My sister is an incredibly successful professor, department head at the University of Minnesota. But my oldest brother and dad are executives that have been really successful and done well. Yeah. They don't spend anywhere near their means. And I used to think that was dumb. I used to think, what is the point? You worked your tail off.
Live a little bit.
My dad was doing estate planning, and here's what I want to do with it. And I said, Dad, just spend it. It's yours. I mean, go buy a Lamborghini. Go buy the house in Tuscany. Go do, and that's not what he is. So it's been right there for me, right? It's literally been I was raised to know better, literally. And that's one of the other wonderful things. I found my way back to them, and they're just, it's just,
it's probably the best mastermind group you could find.
Oh my God.
Right at home, right?
Talking about keeping you on,
keeping you honest,
on track. Oh my God. My sister is just my Sherpa, man. It's like, she's good that she doesn't have to give me the answers too many times, but she's clearly, I don't want to hear it, but she'll call me out. And it's good. I need it. So
I think we all benefit from that, right? When we start to believe too much of our own BS, and we start to, think we're untouchable, or I've achieved this status, so therefore you should all change your behavior and way of being around me.
Yeah.
It allows us to get to this place that's really destructive.
It's funny, I put myself on a pedestal for years, just thinking that's where I belong, because of that concern about perception. It crumbled. I didn't knock it down; it crumbled, and then suddenly I realized this is where I should be, not up here above everyone. I should be just like in with everybody.
Yeah,
that's the other thing that I just like. That being worried about that story meant that I couldn't build legitimate connections. Because if I did, they would ask the kind of questions that would see right through my story. So, hey, man, I'm fine. Everything's great. Everything. Oh my God, I am winning. And like Trump, that's so much winning. I'm getting sick of winning. Oh my, so you don't build genuine connections, right? You just keep everything at arm's length. Everything. Don't. No. What are you doing? What are you looking at my dirty laundry for? Get away from there. It's exhausting.
You know, it's crazy too. Like nobody could ever get close to you.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're in the type of business where, listen, it's deal making, it's the people business. You need that sort of real, you need to know what's real so you can make good decisions. And
Yeah.
if you're not being real, it's going to be really hard for that other person to.
Well, absolutely. And you pointed this out, and it's part of not wanting to look weak is not asking for help, right? So what is asking for help? As a salesman, it's saying, hey, you got a deal for me? Like, I'm here to help you, but is there something you can do for me? And for years, I didn't want to show weakness or that I was in need of anything. So I would go have lunches. I would go do meetings, do calls, go to conferences. Hey, what can I do for you? I'm offering to help because, I'm the powerful one here. I'm the one that's really, sort of up on the pedestal. How can I help you from my pedestal?
Yeah.
And I realized I wasn't ever asking for help, which wasn't only bad for me. It was also kind of humiliating is the wrong word, but demeaning to them, because it's effectively saying, yeah, I don't need your help. There's nothing you can do for me, but I can help you. So why don't you let me help you? And so beyond just being dumb as a business development guy, it was also just, like there are ways by asking them for help. Suddenly I realized, oh, you can help me. And now as you're helping me, I actually am finding other ways to help you. And this all started, by the way, not like I had this brilliant light. You helped me find it for sure, but it really came from Griffin in the beginning, which was he needed help that I couldn't provide. I was in a mental state where I was spiraling, free falling, and he needed help. He needed a rock, and I wasn't it. And so I had to reach out and ask for help. And if that hadn't happened, I'd probably still be sitting here today saying, "Hey, coach, what are you talking about?" Because you're distracting me from my winning.
Yeah.
I got to go do more winning. So I'm lucky to have him help me figure out. Oh, okay, all right, that's what I was doing wrong.
Sometimes those young, uncluttered minds, they can just see it for what it is, and you're like, "Hey, Dad, wake up."
He gave me it's you can't make this up, right? Like he gave me for Christmas one year. He gave me a Build-A-Bear. He calls me a monkey. He just always called me a monkey, and I used to think, oh, that's kind of like silly. I don't know. I don't like the idea of that. And then I realized, who doesn't like a monkey, right? Yeah. And monkeys are awesome. They're agile. They jump around. They're playful. They're family. So I've like embraced the monkey like crazy. But he gave me this monkey and a monkey son, and the dad had a tracksuit on and tennis shoes and a cell phone in his hand. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's me. I'm working out and working, and yeah, that's the way I am. And I realized now, if you go to my room, that's all gone. All the clothes are off. I didn't take them off. It's not like some act. It's just over time, the clothes and it's just two naked monkeys sitting there with the son holding the dad's neck.
Yeah.
And that's what he saw right back when he gave it to me. What he saw was dad's busy with work and he's busy working out. And, I hope I get to see him.
Yeah. That'll make the lipo go off a little bit for you, huh?
Well, and the fact that I was actually proud of it when he gave it to me, proud of that image, go back to the story, right? That's like, man.
So what would you say, there's a lot of people out there at different phases of their life that are, from, again, people that are, back in your Notre Dame days that are hungry for their career and looking to get to the next level, to sort of, a little bit later in their career, but still dealing with some of the things that you were saying. What advice do you have for people that are feeling stuck, jammed up, and so hyper-focused on success? What would be like your moment to them, just to give them wake them up a little bit? Give them a Griffin moment.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, so I'll spin this back a little differently. I had someone who I was doing a webcast with, webcast. What is that, by the way? I just made up a word. I feel like I'm in 1998. We're on the interwebs. But he said, give me a billboard. And I said, come talk to me in 10 years. That's when I can give you a billboard. I'm not ready to give you that yet. But all I can tell you is what's working for me, and what seems like it's going to work for me, I'm confident will, is just like focus on family, focus on the gifts you have and work. Just do the work. Don't be afraid of the work. I was super afraid of the work because I'd forgotten how to do it.
Yeah.
And so I was terrified. So Coach, you love this. I went back after Joe and the Juice. I went back to my deal board, and I put a corner of it, and I put, here's the number of calls I'm going to make, the number of meetings I'm going to have, the number of deals I'm going to source, and so weekly, monthly, quarterly. And I put it all out there, and I want to make 80 calls a month, email/calls a month. I was like, holy shit. Did I just put that? I can't do it. I can't do that. 80, that's like crazy. That's from going from 0 to 80. No way, and not literally, but you know what I did I just logged my calling for the month. You know what it was? 153. Yeah, 153. And that missed a whole bunch of activity that I just didn't log, but it doesn't matter. The point is that I'm learning that it's just do the work, and the deals will come. So
which is so interesting, Dan, because when we first started talking, I asked you one question that I haven't forgotten, and it's like, hey, what's the one thing that you need to do in order to create deals? And you said, I need to make calls. And it's like, well, how many are you making a day? And you were like 3 to 5. That's literally where you were at. So you were really, relative to what you're doing now, you were doing no work.
Yeah. Well,
and you were working out like 8 times a day, but
I know. And and the thing is, it's funny because I thought my job was to be an executive. So it wasn't about making the calls. It was about, but then I realized I'm not doing anything. I'm trying, and I'm showing up every day, but I'm just terrible at managing people because I don't feel like I'm having an impact for myself when I'm managing other people. And I have 3 partners I work with who are just incredible. And fortunately, 2 of them are really good managers, just really efficient, effective. And they had to really nicely tell me, effectively fire me as a manager. I mean, that was kind of the demotion. And it was, my title didn't change. My responsibilities didn't functionally change. Actually, my responsibilities did change. It was, hey, go do business development. Yeah. That's what you're good at.
You're good at that.
Good at managing. You're the best business development guys. One of the best we got. Just go do it. Like, why are you wasting your time in this 2-hour management meeting where you're making bullshit comments to feel like you're having an impact, but you're not adding any value to the conversation at all. And I wasted so much time because I felt like I need to be in that meeting because that's where the power resides. And now I'm realizing, you know what? Business development is what drives a business, and every part of it is critical, right? Like we need each member of the team to be functioning at high, but without business development, without developing business, what is business development? It's
what is the business, right? What's a business with no business?
So, that's the engine, man. It's all critical to the machine working, but I realized I got to stop trying to tell them what to do and just go do it.
Yeah.
And just be a worker bee and take my partner hat off and put my name badge on, right? And just go work the room.
Which is I think that's a great lesson for any executive that's going to listen to this, is saying, hey guys, just because you have the title of executive, you're sitting up in the C-suite, you can smoke the cigar in your office if you want.
Yeah.
Like, you got to get in there with the people. You have to come down to the level of your people so you can actually know what's going on within your own company.
Yeah. It's when we got promoted to partner, we were managing directors and we got promoted to partner. And one of my partners that I've worked with for almost 20 years said, okay, I like the fact that we're getting, some partial ownership in the company and some, more economics, but can I keep the managing director title? And I was, what are you talking about, dude? That's like crazy. Like, everyone wants to be a partner. That's the whole point. We've been doing this for 20 years. And his point was, managing directors are known as the guys that get things done. They're the guys that actually do the deals, right? And so he took the partner title, by the way, as we all did, but he still operates like a managing director. Whereas I was like, okay, now I'm a partner. I can phone it in. And
you sort of had that. It sounds like you had that moment where, and it's a moment that I think most people in business dream of is like, I've arrived.
Well, so yes, but it was preceded by, holy shit, what am I doing here? Literally, it was
Okay.
like this team doesn't need me, literally. And I have become irrelevant. I am not a functioning member of this team. This team is operating. I got junior members of this team that are more important to this team than I am, literally, on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis. How the hell did that happen? It didn't. My answer is it didn't happen overnight. It took days, weeks, months, and part of it was I was going through a devastating personal situation with my divorce that I just needed some time on the one hand, but this also preceded that. This is not because of the divorce, and so it was I got to the point where I could take that breath, but it's only when I landed on my ass, literally, after a long fall, and it was like, what the hell? Did I get pushed? Did I just fall? It was literally, and then I kind of got up, dusted myself off, and was like, all right, I got to make myself relevant here again, like quick. Or I'll be honest with you, 6 weeks ago, when the in the midst of the market chaos and mid-March, I woke up one morning, I was like, I'm going to lose my job again. Literally, I lost it in the financial crisis. We're heading into another crisis. I don't feel like I'm where I need to be.
Yeah.
The organization. I'm not playing the role that I need to play. And I started I'm sweating. And it was like, this was a couple of weeks where I thought, when my partner would say, hey, can we talk? And I would pick up the phone thinking, I'm going to be packing my stuff today, literally. And it was terrifying.
Phone call, right?
It was terrifying, man. They keep pop like a random call into my schedule. And I'm like, oh, fuck. All right. I got to I'm going to have to figure it out. And what I did is I used it as a catalyst. I said, okay, I might get fired. It's possible. I'm not laid off. It's very possible, because who knows these days? There are a lot of people that have lost their job. My God, look at how many people have lost their jobs, and there are a lot more, I think, that are going to lose their jobs, which is awful. Yeah. And I could still lose mine. It's the God's honest truth. But the way I can improve the odds of not losing it is by just showing up every day and doing the work. And by the way, if I do lose it, the best way I can increase my odds of landing something that's acceptable and, where I can be productive is by reminding myself what I'm good at. It's like when I was a runner in high school, just go out and run. Like, I was great when I would just go run, just go do it. And with work, that's it.
I would say this too. Probably, running is a good example because there's so many different events within track and field. You probably also knew the type of runner you are. And we talked a lot about this, right? Are you farming or are you hunting? And it's like, there's people that are really good cross country and distance runners, and there's people that are sprinters. Yep. And you have to know what type of a runner, what type of a player you are. And when you figure that out, I'm sure,
It's funny you say that, because I wanted to be the sprinter so badly, and I'm so friggin' slow. I'm so slow, but I can run forever. So, I ran a 4:25 mile in high school. I was all state cross country. But it wasn't because I was talented. It was just that I could endure. It was just like,
I think, I didn't know this about you, but I find it interesting now that you're telling me the type of runner you are. If you think about it, right, when you watch the Olympics, who are the runners that get all the TV time and all the accolades and it's sexy, right? It's the sprinters.
Yeah, absolutely.
But these endurance guys, man, they're really impressive because they just keep going and going and going. And it's like, now it sounds like you shifted from the sexy sprinter back to that sort of endurance athlete that you were. And you're like, I'm going to win the long game.
Yeah. Yeah. And then with the going back to fitness, what if I could layer in some strength? So when I started working out again, 7 years ago, and it started becoming a thing, I was like, okay, I'm going to be a boxer. I want to be a boxer. That's where it is. Or I want to do Muay Thai. That's the ticket. That's what I'm going to, and I realized, and I want to be look strong. I want to look big. And my body's not built that way. I was skin and bones in high school, but I can get stronger, and but more importantly, I can get nimble, right? Like, I can be flexible. I can be functionally strong, and then layer in that underlying endurance. Like, okay, like we can, this is going to be fun. I'll never be the sprinter. I mean,
Right.
I'll line up in the blocks, but I'm gonna get dusted. But I'll go run a Spartan,
Yeah.
and just like, okay, let's just endure this thing, let's go out there and get it. So
Hey, there's a lot of freedom, and again, I would say the running theme of this talk is knowing who you are,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like, even a good reminder is like when you start to feel amped or tight or sort of that pressure, all you got to do is remind yourself, hey, I'm probably out of position. I'm
yeah,
just, and then you remind yourself, and you go back to Mr. Mr. Minnesota. That's
yeah.
your alter ego.
That's what I have a lot of stuff. I've got a towel in my kitchen that says, the marvels of Minnesota. I wear a shirt to bed every night. That's I'm a shirt of Minnesota, and I'm like, that's my therapist gave me 2 words: remember Minnesota.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's good enough. And if there's, look, um, there are people that will say, oh, that's kind of, Minnesota's not cool, or like, that's perfect, great, like.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Dan, a buddy of mine, Carl Pavano, was a pitcher with the Yankees, and he
Yeah,
ended up going and pitching for the Twins. Now he's a New England guy, hard-nosed Italian, and him and his wife, they rent a house in Minnesota, on a beautiful lake. And they said, "Can you believe this? First day we came here, 2 of our neighbors came over with chocolate chip cookies, introducing themselves. Like, we were freaked out."
yeah.
But then we realized, like, these are just like really nice people that actually care about other people.
So I'll flip that around. This is funny. My brother Jack, who's one of the nicest people in the world, incredible guy. We're in an elevator in New York. This was 10 years ago, and it's the 2 of us. Someone gets on the floor, and just one of my neighbors, someone on another floor that I have no idea. He has no idea from Adam who I am, and vice versa. And Jack says, "Hey, I'm his brother. I'm visiting from Minnesota, and we're just gonna grab him some dinner." And the guy literally moved away from him. It was, it was like,
Wow.
as a serial killer, right? This guy's trying to lure me in or something. So yeah, and the other thing that's really cool about Minnesota that I'm super proud of is there's a lot of people there that do live way below their means.
Yeah.
And one of the things is that there's a ton of corporate wealth up in Minnesota, a lot of hedge funds. They don't, there's, Chicago's an amazing town. I love Chicago. Lived there for 6 years. And there's a lot of people in Chicago that are very happy with Chicago. There are some that think, we're as good as New York, and, we're a smaller version of New York. We're just have everything New York has. No one in Minneapolis says we're as good as New York, or we have everything New York has. They don't care.
No.
They're happy with what they have. People say, oh my God, it's so cold in Minnesota. Yeah, go there on the coldest days and watch the people outside cross-country skiing and running. And, they get out. They don't just endure it. They embrace it.
Yeah, exactly. I actually think they're, for where they live, they're very lifestyle oriented there as well. Outdoors, nature. It's it. I've always enjoyed everybody I've ever met from Minnesota. I've always liked, but I think if you continue to embrace that, it's like you're actually a really nice guy to do business with in a land where everybody's a shark and sort of to get the deal. You're a breath of fresh air.
I have I'll go back to my therapist because he's got so many great lines. He said, you get yourself in trouble when you pretend to be a shark.
Yeah.
You're a dolphin.
Yeah.
And you know what the shark knows. You're not the smartest guy in the room. But you're smart enough. You've been doing this long enough that you know the game, and you know what's doable and what's not. And you don't have to be an asshole about it. And forever, I felt like I need to be an asshole to show that I am Gordon Gekko. And no,
one of the biggest.
Yeah. Just I'm not, and there's a lot of guys that have made so much money that are so incredibly wealthy and so unhappy. And there are some that balance it beautifully. And you look at those people and you think, God, that's just like, life's not fair. How'd they get the golden ticket? How'd they get and they figured it out, right? Yeah. They got a lot of money and they got some nice toys and they got some, some nice houses, but that's not what their life is about. Right. They're living every day with a purpose and with a sense of vision, what they want to accomplish. And
is your focus, I guess, purpose or is it acquisition?
Yeah.
That's, I think if you lead, even the best athletes have always told me, listen, I just wanted to be great at what I do.
Hmm.
and I acquired a great contract, and I acquired all these toys as a result of just being great at the sport that I love. And for you, you love, I know that you love the deal making, you love what you do, you love that, you love
Yeah.
finance, and now you're doing it under your terms,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Yeah, you go back to the I'll take it back to working out. When I started working out, it was about looking a certain way, or God, I want to look like that. You know, I'd see that guy running or that guy working out and be like, okay, I want to look like that. That's what I want to be. And now I got to a place where I'm in best shape of my life by
Yeah.
far. And I am in the fourth inning. You know, I mean, I look at it and I say, it's not because I need to be doing this to look a certain way. It's because I just friggin' love it, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't love every minute of it. There's moments that I'm like, why am I doing this? This sucks.
Yeah.
But I know what it's doing for me. It gives me energy and confidence and discipline. Then it gives me that purpose. And I love that idea of success being a byproduct of the work, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm not trying to be successful these days.
Yep.
I'm just doing the work, and it's taken so much longer. It's the other concept I love is the flywheel,
Yeah.
right? The flywheel takes forever to get it moving, right? And it's taken me years of daily effort to get this thing like just nudge it like inches. But I know it's getting moving, and I don't know if it's going to be 2021, 2022, 25 when the thing gets spinning. But when it's spinning, you can't stop it, right?
Yep.
It's just gonna keep going. And what does the flywheel do? It feeds energy to everything else, right?
Yep.
And so that's what I want to be. I want to be feeding energy. Everyone that comes in contact with me feels like they got something from it, right?
Yeah.
Something incrementally positive in some way. It doesn't need to be meaningful. It doesn't need to be, could be a smile, could be a high five. Just, hey, that's someone that's trying to bring what they got to the table
Yep.
and get something done. And
you know what, I'll say this, as a tip my cap to you, is like, I would say, since the first time I met you, you're a lot more calm. And there's a word that we haven't used today, right? We've talked about, being fit and being successful and doing the work, but you are actually exuding a level of joy and happiness that I had not felt before from you, because you were so focused on the pursuit that now you've embraced the journey as opposed to just the outcome, which is cool, man. That's what this is all about, right?
That's great of you to say. And there's a lot of times when I would feel like I had some breakthroughs and I would say, God, I don't want to forget how to do this. And I don't want to, I don't want to lose the sense of why this matters and why this is important. And I've gotten to the point where I know what matters. I know what's important. I can lose sight of it for a day or a week for sure. But those fallbacks aren't going to drag me back like they did in the past. It's going to be, okay, it's going to be, and I love this concept of you will not be exonerated, right? It's not like, hey, it's great of you to say that, coach, but that partially makes me want to go, woo, all right, it's good. I'm done. I'm out, right? I won.
Yeah. No, because it's all those actions that are leading you to there.
Yeah. And I think like, there's no more challenges coming. I'm just going to just roll through everything.
Yeah.
And when there's shit on the horizon, man, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be, and it's going to test me, and it's going to make me think maybe this isn't the way it's working my ass off. Maybe I should take it easy and relax a little bit.
Nah,
I'll find my way back to it. I know
that's not in your nature.
Well, I got not anymore, but I also know I got people like you to make sure it's
Keep going.
Yeah, go get off your ass.
Yep.
I know that punch hurt. I get
Make
it.
The calls. Make the call. Don't stop. Don't stop. I got one more question for you, because
please.
I ask every guest this, and it's simply this. This is the Becoming a Champion show. What does the word champion mean to you? And there's no wrong answers. It's just sort of what you think of when you think of that word, and as how it relates to yourself.
Yeah, it's just successful in a humble way.
Yeah.
is what I would say. That's it. And with a sense of appreciation for the amazing stuff that I've been given.
Yeah.
My son first and foremost, but my family. I mean, it's just that's what it means to me. And I'll go back to what I said before. I love the title "Becoming a Champion" because
You never arrive, right?
you never arrive,
Yeah.
and and that's the beauty of it, right? Because you could get to a level where you say, good, I'm good here. I just want to sustain this. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. And it might take weeks, months, years. It's going to take you longer to get it back. So it's just, to me, becoming a champion is keeping that concept in mind. It's about becoming.
Yep.
Right?
I love that.
Waking up every day thinking, man, I'm not as successful as I want to be. I'm not there.
No, that's awesome. Well, I'm very proud of you and what you've done, because it's cool. I remember some of our meetings, man. It was like, I hope he's gonna be all right. But now I feel really good about our meeting today, and I'm happy. I'm happy.
Imagine you walking away from those meetings thinking, man, I may have signed up for a gig. I can't,
I gotta put a GPS on this guy.
Coach, I absolutely 100% know that to be true, and I can't tell you how lucky I am to have found you. You were instrumental in my success, in my turnaround, and so I thank you, and I thank you for the kind words, and I please keep the coaching coming. I read you every day.
Thank you.
No bullshit. I think your stuff is amazing. It gives me hope. It gives me inspiration. So please keep it coming.
I will. When I get up to New York, we're gonna go to lunch.
Yeah, dude.
No cameras.
Yeah, no, listen, I love it. Let's do it, and let's make it beers. But
awesome.
either way, I'm there. Just say when and where.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Coach.
Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right, sir. Be well. Take care.
Right. You too. See
Talk
ya.
to you later.
Bye.